What is going on, everybody? What is up, Spicer? Clang and bang! Calories in, calories out. What is up, dude? Thanks for being here, brother. Always appreciated to have you here. I'm sure everybody here knows Spicer. And if you guys don't know Spicer, I don't even know. I don't even know. How are you guys doing today? Welcome in, everybody. Today is a new day and a new stream. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I had to adjust some mic settings, so please let me know if we can get there. Gabriel. Well, we haven't started her yet, but yep, this is a great reference right now. So we are going to be doing some anime sculpting. But yeah, before we get into it, I wanted to say a couple things. Welcome in, everybody. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Happy Sunday for most of you. If you guys don't know me, my name is Ian, aka IR Sculpts. I make toys for a living. I work for a tiny little company called Funko LLC. If you guys know them, then you know what it's about. I just make toys. I sculpt all day. It's beautiful, and I love it. So if you guys have any questions, most of my streams are dedicated to just sculpting and making awesome stuff. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop a like. Let me know. Real quick, I wanted to show you guys my latest piece that some of you might have known. We did Captain America Zombie What If. I just finished rendering it today in some key shot. So this was pretty cool. This is what we worked on. I'm from Brazil. Love to see your work. Thank you. Welcome in. Just started learning brush today. Woo! Nice. Well, we'll be gentle. CBS will be gentle. So today, guys, we are doing some anime sculpting. You know what? What am I even doing? What am I even doing today? I totally forgot to let you guys know. Yes, most of you should know. ZBrush Summit is coming. You guys don't know about the ZBrush Summit? Please go to summit.pixologic.com. Check all that out. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Okay, that's out the way. All right, we're done. We're done with that good jazz. ZBrush, I'll be sculpting. You'll be sculpting. It's going to be fun. All right. I'm full of energy today. I've had a little bit of amino acid and a really good workout today. So, really awesome. All right. Now, fair warning, guys. I do not claim nor believe I am an expert in anime sculpting. Actually, what you're witnessing today is I played a little bit with anime sculpting and I want to get better at it. And that's pretty much going to be the theme for today, is if you want to get better at something, you're just going to have to try it. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to dive in there and see what you can do. I am using a really cool base mesh mannequin from SK. So if you guys do not know SK and you would like to know the brushes and stuff I'm using today, check out SK. Wonderful works. His brushes are amazing. His base mesh is amazing, and it's all free. You guys can jump in there. I'm going to drop the link to that as well, because that's what we're using today. So what we're going to be doing is I have actually... We actually have... Let's go reference. Nope, not here. I actually have some pure ref. And what we're going to be doing is this. This is what I'm working on today, but we're going to start with one character at a time. I don't want to push it too hard or blow your guys' mind out the gate. This is a very big piece. This is going to be a lot of work. So we're going to be breaking this up into stages. My goal is to basically get Netsuko blocked out, then move to Tanjiro, and then start piecing them together. So that's what we are doing. So let's just get into it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think what I'm going to do is get the pose going first, and then we'll move from there. Here's an easy question. Where do I find the department menu for brushes? I can't find it. I have ZBrushCore, so maybe I don't have it. Yes, okay, so you have ZBrushCore. You do not have a way to bring in brushes. ZBrushCore is limited to, I believe, the 15 brushes that are there. But I have a few streams in mind where we'll be using ZBrushCore in the future. Oh, the depth brush. Okay, depth menu for brushes. Yeah, it's been a day since I've opened up Core, but it would be under brush and depth. So if it's not under brush and depth under ZBrushCore, then you don't have that feature. That's all I can say. But I plan on doing some core stuff in the future, so yeah, we'll get into that. But that's where that would be if it is there at all. All right, so let's get into just starting off the pose. So the pose is going to be a lot of fun. So she's lunging, and I wanted to go over poses first in direction. Okay, yeah, you don't have that, thanks. No worries, man, no worries. So the thing that makes statues so amazing is it's all about the pose, and it has to read well from every angle, 360 degrees. If the statue looks off in one spot, it's not going to look good. And so since I do statues, we're going to be covering all the different angles of lunges. So what I did was I got some references, and we're kind of taking a look at how a character is in motion, and we want to follow the direction of each one of these characters. And I'll show you just a little bit here. Where's my pen? Okay, so what we're looking at today is actually the flow of the character. So you can see right here, that's not a good color. Let's get blue. Right now we are looking at the flow of the character and how the arches are going to be moving through in that direction. We want the direction of the character to be lunging forward, as seen over in this one right here. How she's moving forward in action. So we're going to want this motion. And so I like to start off with poses, especially when doing big pieces with multiple characters, because I feel like that's the best way to get the most authentic feel of how that character is moving. And we'll explain that a little bit more right now. I am making Nitsugo, absolutely. We're actually making this whole statue right here, Tanjiro with Nitsugo. So this is going to be a very big endeavor. It's going to be a big project. I'm usually streaming until 8. I don't usually have much more in me after that. So this is going to be a few streams, guys. So let's get into it. So we're going to start with trying to find this pose first. So I'm going to put my peer ref over here. And I have SK's Mannequin, and I've picked one of them that I think works the best. And we're just going to go ahead and start moving this around. And if you're familiar with mannequins, or you would like to play a little bit with mannequins, it's basically Z-spheres. You just open up your light box, and if you have a mannequin folder right here, you can pick one of these and start playing with them. They're really, really cool to get some fun shapes. That's what we're going to be doing. Now with this pose, I'm actually going to angle. I'm just going to try to get the most of it. So let's get her arm here. And we're going to go ahead and start tapping here, kind of rotating this back. If it will let me. Come on. And it has been a couple days since I've used it. Bear with me. There we go. Come on. Get that rotation. Ooh, I'll do it all in one stream. Print it and glue it together. Do it. Do it, do it, do it. Oh, come on. I need to play with mannequins more. Come on, baby. That will speak here today. Oh. How is everybody doing? How's everybody's Sunday happening? I know. Back here, there we go. Back. So she's kind of lunging out this way. It's going to be a very slow, fun process. Get this arm going up here. But we want to kind of have this as somewhat realistic, you know? We're just going to start getting a lot of this going. Now, luckily with the mannequin, it's pretty much set in the form, so we don't have to change too much too quickly. We're just going to get a rough idea. We can always tweak it later. We're not trying to go for pure perfection out the gate. Just want it to make sense. Hello, JPEG Designs. How you doing? Wait, is the mannequin a distinct type, or do you have an oblong shape with skeletons and spheres? So this one is actually SK's Sakaki, if you guys know Sakaki, he's also a Pixologic streamer. It's actually his base mesh mannequin, so it is actually custom to him. But if you're familiar with Z-spheres and how Z-spheres work, which if you're not, I can go over quickly, but a lot of these pre-built mannequins have a good amount of customization to them. So each one is a little bit different. This one is just mainly a basic shape. Let's see here. Just no sculpting as usual. Yeah, nice. Monday here, watching while at work. Awesome, Scott. Awesome. Hey, what's up, Chris Reese? What is your thoughts on ZBrushCore for mini sculpting? I think ZBrushCore is awesome. Of course, it's not full ZBrush, but that's okay. I think it is awesome, especially just basically ZBrushCore is just like the child ZBrush version, so you could do a lot in there. And I actually got my feet wet and started when I got serious about ZBrush. Oh, going on 6 years ago now. I started with Core. I had a little program called Sculptors Pro, and then I moved into Core, and I stayed in Core for about 2 to 3 years. And I got most of my work done in Core fairly well. The thing to know with Core is that there's definitely a little bit of, like, I would say it's not as technical. You can't do a lot of the really crazy technical things that you can do in ZBrush, but it's not designed for that. Core is basically to get you started, but you can do mini sculpting in Core, no problem. Just make sure to really punch your details, make your cuts really deep when you're planning on 3D printing, but it should be fine. Let's actually move her forward a little bit. So with Z-spheres, all you have to really do is touch the sphere that you want to move, and then you can actually start adjusting that specific sphere. Now, of course, you have Q to draw out new spheres, you have W to tap and move a sphere, you have E to tap and scale spheres, and you have R, tap and rotate. So these are all little things to remember. I'm usually just kind of dragging and moving my mesh around. I'm actually gonna go ahead and pull up a little bit. I will be honest, I haven't used these spheres in a little bit, so I might be a little rusty, but I like trying new techniques and working with stuff, so don't be afraid to get in there. Not a problem, Lady M. That's a go-on. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So this project's gonna be pretty huge, guys. Pretty excited about that. Now the beauty part about mannequins is when you get used to them, you can actually rotate them around pretty easily, and you don't have to worry about forms or proportions altering too much, but you also have a good scale or reference. So this is something to kind of right. Something to just kind of get a good base on. But you're also going to want to know anatomy. If you're going to start asymmetrical sculpting, make sure to really study up on your anatomy. That's going to be very important. Now I'm going to want some dynamic here. I'm actually going to go ahead and rotate this back a little bit like that. This way I'll be lunging kind of forward. And I am staring at my reference right now, which I have up here on the Pure Rev. What is up, Matt? You can do it! Yes, thank you, Spicer. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. I need that. Hello, greetings from Iceland. Mannequins on Iceland. That is awesome. Heck yeah. What we're going to do is get the basic pose down. Then we're going to work on the face. Then from there, the face is going to be the fun part. So if you guys are wanting to try your hands at some anime faces, hopefully this will be for you. Let's bring this up. We're really having this up here like such. Okay, we're actually going to kind of lunge this back a little bit. Maybe from the side. There we go. Yes. Hello from Brazil. That's awesome. I tried doing a pose character the other day and just kind of gave up because I believe I wasn't ready yet. That is okay. You tried, though. That's the most important part. To be completely 100% transparent, it is something that I think a lot of people should learn how to do, because when you're doing T-pose characters, which again, don't misconstrue, I definitely think everybody should usually start from a T-pose and then pose it afterwards. But the ability and the skill set you get from sculpting asymmetrically out the gate can be so beneficial, because when we have a T-pose character, A, you're going to have to learn how to pose, and then B, you're going to have to fix your model. So starting to get the basic building blocks of your of the character posed, while difficult, definitely can provide a good skill set. So definitely try it once in a while. Don't be too shy about giving it a shot, but take your time. Know when the project's going to take a while. It's okay. But again, kudos for trying it. Let's go ahead and move this out this way. I'm not too worried about the hand position right now. Just want to get the basic shape of it. Now her foot's going to be something like this. Her foot's also going to be a little bit out. Her knee's going to be a little bit this way. Such. She's lunging out of a box. We're gonna put a box right here. This is also going to be a very interesting position to be in. Push R on the keyboard, and let's move this back just a little bit more. Push this up more. Push this up a lot more too. She's really going for it. Now, when your legs go up, okay, they do go to the side. They want to go to the side naturally. So don't be afraid to give that shit. Just get in the basic look and feel of this. Yeah, I plan to come back to do it once I'm feeling like I'm ready. Heck yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this one's gonna be so much fun. I was really looking forward to this piece for a while, but this piece has scared me a bit. I'm not gonna lie. So, you guys see me struggling once in a while? Just know. Just know. All right. Okay. Yes. Not too bad, not too bad, not too bad. We can go ahead and tweak it from here. I think that might be pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and come down here to adaptive skin. Now this is really cool, guys. So when you're using any type of Z-spheres, you are working with a mesh that is editable. So if I were to go ahead and push A, it's actually going to showcase what that mesh looks like, Dynamesh. If I hit A again, it's going to turn that feature off. That's really, really cool, right? So here's another really cool tip, is that when you come over to adaptive skin on your right-hand side, you have a menu called Dynamesh Resolution. If you set this to 0 and then hit A, oops, hit A one more time, let's back that up. You hit A, it's actually going to show you more of a like ZBrush version. So depending on how well you want to do something, you want to keep a Dynamesh and kind of loose and very sketchy like, you can set this Dynamesh setting, or you can set it to 0 and get more of a ZBrush feel. Completely up to you. That's one of the things I like about it. And then of course you have to use classic skinning on if you would like. You can adapt that and see now you have a really crazy mesh. 0. So depends on what you would like. Use classic skinning is pretty good for me. And let's actually keep it at Dynamesh. Yeah, I think that might be kind of nice. Hey, what is happening? Welcome in, welcome in. All right. Yep. All right. Do I want to tweak this anymore? That is the question. I think I do want to tweak it just a bit more. I'm gonna stay R, and we're gonna rotate this here. Again, she has her foot kind of planted, and I like to make sure that the toes and the knees line up pretty well with each other. That's just something that I feel like helps me a lot. I'll look at it from this angle, this right here, and I'll rotate that, just kind of making sure that the toes and the toes and the knees are pointed in the same direction, not too far off. Even though the ankle can shift, just looks better, I think. J Crew's in the house, and Hero Bench Collectibles. What is up, guys? Welcome in. Thank you guys for being here. Just posing out the gate. We're just going for broke. We're doing it. We're going for broke. Now, here's an interesting thing. So, this shoulder right here, because her arm's going back, I've kind of already broken it. So we're gonna hit this spot, and we're gonna make sure that we rotate this up here, and need to see if we can twist her body a little. Not that one. Kind of rotate that forward. Kind of push this forward a bit. Kind of rotate that, keeping that line of motion. So we're thinking about her chest is moving forward, so one shoulder is going to be ahead of the other. That's really important to remember when posing. Keeping that dynamic the same. Now I'm keeping her head straight because it doesn't really matter, but if I wanted to position the head just so it makes sense, we can do that. We can bring it up a little bit, maybe tweak it to the side just a bit, just so we get that line of direction. Again, that's the most important part, is that we want to make sure that the character has that good sense of direction. She would be looking more like right about here right now ish. So we want to make sure that we keep that flow going. Now I'm going to be tilting the whole object forward, so she's very upright right now, but we'll be positioning her once we are happy with the rest of it. Just something to keep in mind. I think right now that's going to be pretty good. The shoulder actually might be a little bit down too. The shoulder may be a little bit more up. Oh. Yeah, see, now we have something a little bit more along this line. And I think that's going to be pretty good. There we go. I don't know Spanish. But welcome in, welcome in. Knowing kinematics for bodies is helpful. Absolutely, yeah. I would like to see how you would make the stress texture. The dress texture itself, yeah. Honestly, there's a lot going on with that texture, so one step at a time for sure. But I think a lot of it for her, I think a lot of this actually would do pretty well painted, but we'll see. We may try to overlay and carve as well for the 3D print. A lot of little things, but I do know that I'm going to get the best results in post. That's for sure. All right. I think I'm pretty happy with that. So let's go ahead and hit A just to preview that. Make sure that's looking pretty good. Which I have to say, I believe it's looking pretty good. I like it. So we can go ahead and hit Make Adaptive Skin. And now we have this mesh right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and save as And let's go call this, we'll call this let's go blocked out. Post. Whoop whoop. Block out, and this will be 0, 1, and we're just going to be saving a Z tool. There we go. Pose is good. Yeah, I'm liking this. Thank you, thank you. Glue and paint on the stream too. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. All right. Okay. Now what I want to do is actually make this a little bit more. I want to make this a little bit more official with the design. So what I'm going to do is actually, real quick, see, do I have that texture? I don't think I do. I'm going to do first, I'm going to bring in an image to overlay. So let's just go ahead and call that screenshot. Let's go to texture, import. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the main image that I'm using as a texture. Okay, and I'm actually going to be dropping the opacity down just a little bit. Might be a little bit too much. Yep, now we're going to fine tune that pose. Okay, so I'm going to hit Z. I'm going to center the gizmo. Now I'm going to go ahead, start bringing this forward. Now I have to think about the print itself too, which is going to be, that's going to be a little tricky. So she's a little bit more like this at the moment. She's not going straight on like we have her currently. Doesn't mean that we can't do something. This, just to get a sense of it. Go. And her leg's a little bit more out than I have it. So what we can do now is we can just go ahead and mask out the area and critique some of this. And if it doesn't work, we can just go back to the, we can even go back to the Z-sphere if we needed to, but I don't think we need to. Up. Yeah, there we go. Pretty cool. Here, same thing. We're going to bring this up. Bring that up a little bit more. There we go. Go ahead and grab this neck part. Center this up. There we go. All right, save as. And that's how we start with the basic lockout. Just of the body right now. Can we use fiber mesh for animation? That's a great question. Also to, well, hello from Jamaica. If you're referring to using fiber mesh for hair cards, I'm not too sure. I'm not really in the animation field, so not a question I can answer with full confidence. What I would recommend is, you know, check with your teacher or check with your boss. You know, if you're at work and you're questioning trying to do something like that. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a more solid answer. But I do know that you could use fiber mesh to create hair cards that then later could have texture projected to them. So that in itself could probably be used for animation, but again, not something I can answer with full confidence as I don't do prepping for animation typically. Okay. All right. Now we got the main body. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start getting the head. And the head is going to be very, very important. And I'm not going to be avoiding it. If you want to start with an anime head, there are projects here. We go under projects. There is a demo anime head, but it's a great start, but you'll want to modify it to the character that you're working for or working with. Anime heads are pretty cool and simplistic in their design, but they're difficult to sculpt because of the simplicity of the design. So I like to start from scratch typically. So what we're going to do is I'm going to come here. I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this. I don't need this anymore. Now I'm going to go ahead and insert. And we're going to insert a sphere. Let's scale this down. And we're going to go ahead and hide this guy right here. Move this up. We're going to rename this to go... Can't spell. Oh. Wow. And also real quick, we're going to insert one more time, just a basic sphere. That is going to be our main subtool. That's actually going to be the name of our character. Then this is... Natsuko. Oh, I can't spell today. Not good. That's no good. Not a problem. Yep, damn hard. Alright. So again, too, I just want to preface that I'm actually starting to learn this style of sculpting, so I am not an expert in anime sculpting whatsoever. But I've done it a few times, as some of you might know. So this is me also trying to get better at my craft. So you get to kind of see it live. So be gentle. One of the things I do know about anime heads, though, is that there is something very, very important about anime heads, and that is the angles in which you should be looking at them. So there is two very important shapes you should pay attention to. One of them is the straight-on head, because you want to pay attention. We come here real quick. We're going to go yellow. The thing that we want to pay attention to is actually... Is that a good color? It's not a good color. Actually, the angle of her face and the shape of her face. We want to pinpoint where the jaw is, where the cheekbones would be, where the chin is, how the eyes actually end up lining up to the character, as well as the mouth itself, even though here she doesn't have a mouth that is visible, she still has one. So we want to pay attention to this shape here, and then the second shape we want to pay attention to is actually the profile shape, understanding where the main sphere of the head is going to be, followed by the taper off of the nose, down to her chin, and then move up. And what we want to pay attention to as well is those center points of her entire head. We want to know where the eyes line up, because of course too, that is also going to be where those ears should be. We want to pay attention to these major features over everything else. We actually want to avoid this 3/4 shot. We get to kind of make this up a little bit. But when sculpting anime, one of the biggest tips I got so far is we're going to have to kind of ignore anatomy in the head. Everything else, obviously, we're going to need to ignore anatomy. Let's see here. Scott says, if this question is too long, I'm absolutely sorry. It is not too long. But can any Z-sphere model use other primitives, or is it just pre-made ones like the Mannequin from Sakaki? Like, can I make my own boned mannequin in ZBrush? I believe you can make your own. I have not made my own, but I believe you can. I do know that a good chunk of these models, like the Zizus, were made by Shane Olsen. He made a bunch of these. So, as I understand it, you can make them. I just haven't, so I wouldn't know how to start. Did some Googling, but I couldn't find any references using other primitives and Z-spheres. What I can say is there are plenty, if we go to Project and we go to Mannequin, some have different shapes, but mostly cylinders and spheres. But I would reach, might be best to reach out to, like ask ZBrush and see if there's a way to do it. Jaws or Jace Cover says, how did you get the Dragon Ball Z looking head at the top right corner? That is a great question, my friend. That is my sculpt. I actually sculpted this. When I say I sculpted anime before, this is actually my sculpt. And I can actually load them up for you if you'd like to see. But to answer your question before I go on a tangent, is whenever you have a model, like let's say we have this guy right here, oop, and we want to make this our new gizmo head character. All you have to do is what I like to do is go ahead and merge visible of what you want. Say merge visible. Say we want this whole scene here. Just merge visible to a new subtool holder, and delete what you don't want. Go ahead and delete this. Delete hidden. And then what you do is you send this home to the center. And then what we're going to want to do is actually change the background color to black. So you're going to go to color, document, back. I'm going to make that black for transparency purposes. Then all you're going to do is hit F until it is completely centered. You're going to go to preferences. We're going to come all the way down to cam view. And we're going to say make cam view. We're going to click that. And it's going to go ahead. And now we have this here. And if we look over to our left, we now in the texture, we have a texture image. We're going to want to save this. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that we go export. And real fast, you go into, if you're on Mac, you're going to want to go ahead and go to your local disk, programs, Pixologic, ZBrush 2021. You're going to want to scroll through here to startup and view, and you're going to want to save it right here. Call it whatever you want, blah, 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 just like that. Go ahead and hit save and just hit enter. It's going to save out that texture for you. Then what you're going to do is go to preferences, config, and we're going to want to store config. Save your UI if you want, but store config. And then if you would like to change it, all you have to do is go back down the cam view and start saying next until you get the one that you want. And then you just go up to config and say store config. Hello, Jimmy is missing. How you doing, buddy? I am making this statue that we talked about last week. This Tanjiro Nexigo fan art statue. Demon Slayer, the one. It's going to be awesome. I'm super excited about it. Right now, we are actually going to get ready to start making the head of the... I'll take one more question, and then we're going to be moving on. Okay, I'll take two questions because they're here real quick. The first one's really easy. What happened to Runa from Kakagiri figure? Did you 3D print it? I did not, search in yet. I still have it. I started nitpicking it, and I would like to redo the head, but it's finished. I finished it, but I just didn't get around to printing it as life got very busy. In which instances, when you start sculpting, do you either do T-pose or pose of all kinds? That's a great question. So it depends on the project, and it depends on the goal of the project. For me, the more I get involved with statue making, it is easier for me to work within pose because a lot of details are hard to re-sculpt when you do something T-pose and then you have to do this really crazy dynamic pose, much like what we're doing here. A lot of times it is easier to just get it right in the pose. However, if I'm making a model that I know might be animated or I'm unsure about the pose and just want to get the character sculpted, then I'll go ahead and jump in T-pose, because the benefit of T-pose is you're working symmetrically, you can get a lot done a lot faster, and you can test drive a lot of things. But just note, once you start posing, you're going to have to re-sculpt things. So you're going to so you will break your model. That's a given. And I don't think that's ever not avoidable. So you want to make sure that you go ahead and, try some different poses and stuff. But just keep in mind that when you do pose, you break stuff. So it really just depends on the project. The last project I did, which was the Zombie Captain America, I did the whole thing in T-pose. And then once I got the bust where I wanted it to, I started breaking it. And then I had to resculpt some features. So just depends on the project. But I always recommend new artists start off with T-pose. Is the best way to learn. It is the best way to get a lot of results quickly. And once you start getting to the point where you want to start pushing your skills and really dive into posing, like the like posing's a language. So the language of how a character moves, feels, reacts, that's when you want to start really fine-tuning some more of those asymmetrical sculpting skills. All right, let's get this head going. Hopefully that was helpful. All right, so what we're going to do now is actually we're going to start with a sphere. That's the best way to do it. And let's actually turn on. First off, let's get a few things back here. There we go. That way you can see my screen. Let's do this. Let's turn this on. So the very first view I'm actually going to worry about, and this is why she's here now, I'm going to be worrying about her face. And we're going to do this as T-pose or symmetrical as possible. We're going to get a good idea of that. So what I'm going to do is actually get her head relatively blown up to say right about there. I'm going to go ahead and hold Control, and I'm going to drag this down. And now, symmetrically, of course, I'm going to go ahead and grab the clip curve. I'm going to clip features just like this. Kind of guessing where that jaw would be. Bloop. What we're looking at now is this kind of shape. Okay. Actually, what I'm going to do now, let's clip this right down the middle. I'm just worried about the front view right now. Now, here's a really cool trick. If you're trying to keep things relatively at a certain viewpoint so you can always snap back and compare to the reference, what we can do is go to Movie, go to Timeline, and let's show our timeline. I'm up here, and just anywhere in this timeline, we're going to touch a spot. Now, what that's going to do is going to create a marker. And if I move this around, and then I push back on the keyboard with the arrow key, and then front, come back to that marker, it's actually going to snap to each time. So if I lose my position, I can just use the arrow keys, snap right back. What I'm going to do is kind of soften this down a little bit. So what I can do is I can come up here like such, kind of get that shape going. I'm also going to hit Control W to get a different polygroup. And now, snap that back. Go. Yep, it's looking pretty good. Okay, let's actually, that looks. Got the Move Infinite brush. Now we're going to start creating a little bit of that jawline. Now what we can also do too is go up to Brush, go up to Auto Masking, hit Topological. Now when we have our Move brush, we can just move the one polygroup that we need to. And let's actually go back to Word for a second so you can kind of see what's. So let's go back, the arrow key, hit here, turn this on. Now we can start reshaping that head a little bit. Good evening! Nice, now I'm going to do a custom cam view. Heck yeah, do it! Can you make a skeleton rig from Z-spheres as well and bind it with your character? You could, Mr. Mars. I have not had a lot of success with doing that well. That doesn't mean you can't, but for me, I have not had good success with Z-sphere rigs, so I say try it, and if it works for you, theoretically you should be able to, but I just haven't had any luck. Good evening, what's going on? Ryan! What's happening, dude? And Carbon44444, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? Alright, so notice, guys, too, I'm really taking my time. Like, I'm not rushing this in any way, shape, or form. I really want to make sure that I take my time with this, that I'm not rushing the character in any way, shape, or form. I guess I said that like shape or form. That's like my thing now. Alright, let's take the insert sphere, and we're going to go ahead and actually drag out a little bit of a neck. Like such. I'm going to hit Z again. And what we're going to do is scale that up so that the neck is the same size as what we want it to be. And I'm actually going to go ahead and push this up a bit and extend that out. Go. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Take the move brush, so B and V. I'm going to take a look at a few things. All line looks good. Okay. So now let's go back to our insert primitive brush. I'm actually going to do cylinders as well. I'm going to drag out ears. I'm going to go ahead and drag out some ears, bring them out this way. Let's actually turn on our local sim. There we go. I'm going to bring this inward. Now let's go ahead and turn this on. Let's position where those ears should be. You can see here, I'm just taking my time and not really too concerned about how fast I get this. I'm just concerned about whether or not it's looking right, whether or not it works. Arrow key, snap me back. Hitting Shift Z will turn things on. Now her ears are pretty well hidden, so you can get away with getting the basic idea of an ear like that. Go. Maybe pull that out a little bit more. But luckily her ears are kind of hidden, so you don't have to worry. Okay. Now we have all these different Z polygroups, so I'm going to select a couple, hit Control W, just to make them a bit different. There we go. Arrow key, go ahead, Shift Z, line that up. Hello. Everything is happening. Yeah. So for those projects, when you start with a pose itself, like statues and figurines, would you have to be an experienced sculptor to resculpt parts like arms and legs quickly instead of symmetrically? Yes, you need to know your anatomy very well in order to do things posed. It's a good way to learn anatomy, but if something's wrong and you're not comfortable with knowing the basic landmarks of like how your pectorals will actually, attach to the bones themselves, how the body's range of motion is, if you're not aware of how the body performs, then it's definitely going to be a much harder experience trying to start off from something that's posed rather than T-posed. So I definitely recommend you start with getting some, like Anatomy for Sculptors is a great book. Just Googling human anatomy. Spicer's Course is a great series. Let me know if you need 25% off. There's great references to go ahead and get things going well. So start with learning anatomy. Get the sense of how ZBrush works. Start learning how the muscles connect. Great resources. And then from there, start posing your models. And when you work on posing, work on really pushing that model so that it looks like it's in motion. That's the key. And it's really hard to pose a character completely detailed, decked out without breaking it. So it's helpful to take the character most of the way there, pose it, and then finalize it. And you will have to rebuild stuff. There are other tricks too. I use the Mannequin. You can take your mesh, dynamesh it, chop it up into pieces, and then just move each piece individually. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. It's really whatever is comfortable for you. But yes, do get comfortable learning how to sculpt asymmetrically. It's just going to benefit you so much more. And yeah, to jump off of Hero Bench's comment here, it is all about reference. The more reference you use in the beginning, the faster you'll learn. And then from there, you'll be able to start pulling away from needing and relying on references, which I never recommend relying on references, but it's there to check your work. Also, too, let me pull up a big screen here. Full screen on my face. Get yourself, somehow, some way, an écrochet. This one's 3D printed. I know if you go to Rafael Grassetti's website, I'm just like plugging everybody today. If you go to their website, he has a free one that's really good. I'm sure you can find some that are paid. Get yourself an écrochet because, see if the camera will focus, but just look at how the body responds. Look at the proportions, look at the different shapes and how the muscles connect. All of this will benefit you in the long run. So get yourself an écrochet, have it on your desk, and really that's 90% of your reference right there. From there, with posing, just try to get in the pose, see if there's a pose that's already like that. It could easily be helpful. And Mo Creative, what is up, dude? Let's see here. I think that if you have symmetry and you can use it to archive a good result, then why not use it? No, absolutely. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't ever do anything symmetrical. Definitely do things symmetrically. It's how you're going to learn. But do not be afraid to do things asymmetrically because it's only going to benefit you in the long run. In the case of armors, I suppose you could duplicate the arms, legs, and at least... Well, that's the thing. Depending on your project, too, will depend on how you want to move stuff around. You know, if you're doing stuff for game, a lot of the body is hidden, just only what's visible, and then everything else is under clothing, so there's a different approach for that. I'm mainly talking about sculpting for toys, sculpting for statue work. Working asymmetrically can be beneficial. Yes. Do you recommend rigging the character in mixed mode to do a pose? Actually, that's not a bad idea. You can definitely do it. It won't take you all the way there. You're still going to need to fix it, but it is a process that a lot of people have used. I've done it myself, and yeah, if you need help with posing and there's something in there you can utilize, do it. Absolutely. Just bake yourself out a low mesh that's easy to deform. Go ahead and load up an FBX or OBJ. And get your pose, snap that right back into ZBrush, and start. Well, actually, it's not as that simple. You're actually going to have to set the pose, so you probably have to jump into other programs to do that. And then once you've set that pose, then bring it back into ZBrush. But yes, you can do that. Okay. Now we have our main shape. Let's go ahead and start getting a few things done here real quick. Like we're going to define the jaw. If you want to use the Mixamo, I definitely recommend go ahead and Google some people who have done that, and you can get some pretty good results. So notice I'm always paying attention to the shape of the head here. Now I'm gonna need the profile shot. So let me grab my reference real quick. I'm gonna grab this profile shot, so I'm gonna save this out. And this is what's really cool about using timelines, is we can go ahead and go to import, go to go reference. Here's that shot. Texture, let's bring it in. Now I'm gonna set this one over here. Yeah, let's put this one over here. That's fine. We can actually minimize that for now. We'll bring this over here. We're going to try to scale this up to be relatively what we need. We're going to try to line up the size of her head, everything else. This part's important. We want to make sure it's roughly the same shape and size. Okay. I'm going to hit Z, touch this one. I'm actually going to hide that one. Yep. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this. That's right there. Hit Z again. Bring this here. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to get the move infinite, and we're going to start getting side shape going. Down. Go. This will give us the main shape that we need. We're going to have to make up the rest. Now we can start getting some of this. Start pushing in where the eyes would be. Be right about here. Get something like that. I'm going to do a light, relaxed, smooth. Not be too destructive. Okay. Right. Great question today, guys. Loving the question. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of such. Now, what's really cool is I do know as well, again, that I want the shape of an anime head to kind of represent more something like this. So this is what I'm going to be going for in this top view a little bit. So I'm going to be making sure to kind of try to push part of her face forward a little bit. Going to be a lot of cleanup. Again, we're just going to be taking our time. That jawline going. Once we get the main block out, we'll then move to like Dynamesh. Ecrochet! Sorry, what was the name of the anatomy model? Yeah, Ecrochet. Yep. Also the guy who had a 3D print one for free. Raphael Grassetti is the guy. Just Google his name. He'll take him to your website. Yeah. Hey, Uncle Jesse's here. What is happening? Hello, hello, hello. You all know Uncle Jesse. 3D printing guru. How you doing, brother? Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it. All right. So now what's really cool is we get to make up the rest of like the jawline a little bit. We get to kind of make some of this up as we go. But we want to make sure that we keep the main profile shot. And we want to make sure that we keep the front view the same. So we're just going to go ahead and tweak this to get this right. Then we'll move back to the front view. I'll see your eye comes back here. All just important things. When blocking out a character's head or body or anything really, just, you know, try to take your time. Don't try to rush it. Just super important to just, you know, get the block out looking pretty good, and then you can manipulate afterwards. Okay. I'm actually going to hide this one now. Let's bring up the other one. There we go. Bring this up here. And let's realign this shot one more time. Always trying to work within that shot. So if something's got a little bit moved, that's okay. That move brush, I'm going to start cleaning that up. There's going to be some planes here that I'm going to add in a minute. He wants your zombie cap. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, it's coming, guys. It's coming. Zombie cap is coming. Speaking of which, okay, hold on one second, guys. You guys would like anything that I'm starting to 3D print from this point forward, go ahead and go to my my linked tree. Anything that I announce that I'm 3D printing moving forward is actually going to go ahead and be here. And I actually uploaded the Bokoblin Stone Talus statue as well. Thank you so much for Hero Bench for test printing that for me. Really needed help with that, and he came through, so thank you so much. But it is here, so just take the very first link. That's where everything's going to be from now on right now. I had a Patreon for a little bit, but I just couldn't keep that going at the moment. So, and I like gifting you guys stuff when I can. So that's definitely going to be where that's at. Let's go. I feel like I've seen this pic all over the place, but I have no idea what it's from. Yep, Demon Slayer. Yep. All right. And I'm really trying to do anime a bit of justice. So something that I'm going to get a lot better at. See, that's what you guys have to just... What we have to say. Just going to do it. Okay, this ear feels big. Let's go ahead and bring that down a little bit. Yeah. Up. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're going to get some planes going on here. So let's actually grab the damn standard. So the thing we want to remember is that how the head's shaped. We actually have it coming here, and then this is going to be coming down like this. This portion right here should be pretty flat. So we're going to want to remember that. Be coming down like this. We're just kind of sculpting a little bit of information. Then we're going to kind of polish this a little bit. Getting a little bit harder of a plane change. That's what's going to hold that 2D look. Everything else is going to be second fiddle. So, giving us a nice hard edge. We can go ahead and do a light soften. Start getting that anime feel. Back to our move brush. Push that in a little bit. Here, same thing. Let's take the damn standard. I'm going to kind of trim a little bit of that jaw right there. So, these are all important plane changes that we can then blend together. Now, we want to get most of the way there, then merge things together. So that's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and save, because I have not saved in quite a while. So let's go ahead and do that. Am I going to do painted eyes? More than likely, Zerchan, I'll be doing painted eyes for sure. Thanks, Went. Found the file. Set it up for print now. Awesome. Hello, interweb, says MJ Sculpts. What's up, dude? Need people like that around for the rest of us. Yep. Awesome. All right, what I'm going to do now is actually kind of merge things together, because I feel like at this point it's pretty well set up, but it's very low res. So I'm going to take the Z modeler, add in some edge loops here just to give me a little bit more denser mesh in the ear. I just use spheres. Here we go. And I'm actually going to go ahead and Z-remesh this. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Okay. Now we got the basic head shape. Now I'm going to go ahead and Z-remesh this, and then I'm going to go ahead and do remesh by union. So what I like to do is make sure that all the groups are different, which they appear to be are. They are symmetrical. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to Geometry, Z-remesher, keep groups, turn adapt off because I just don't like it. I'm going to go pretty high. I'm going to go 20. That's going to help hold the shape a little bit. Ooh, also real quick, what I'm going to do, this fun little technique I started doing, where I'm actually going to round this corner. I'm actually going to, with the Z modeler, kind of delete some of these edges. Put some edge loops back here. Reason for this is going to give me a little bit of a bevel. Kind of round that up a bit. Give me some natural fall off. So when I like do subdivision, it's not super sharp, kind of nice and soft. And let's do one more thing where we're going to pull this ear in just a little. Let that connect. There we go. Now the method that I'm using is called the blockout method. It's made popular by Shane Olson. So if you guys like this kind of style, this is how I do it, but you definitely don't have to do it. Go ahead and kind of that just a little. Go. Moving that down just a bit. Just giving me a little bit more of a pinch. Okay, with dynamic subdivision, I'm going to go ahead and apply that. So that's going to give me actual subdivisions. I'm going to delete lower, and now I'm going to Z-remesh at 20. The reason why I did the delete lower was because I wanted to take it from the high exactly, and also too, I'm rebuilding the mesh, so I just want something that's going to give me a clean mesh. So what I typically do is keep groups, and then I start off high, and then I start subdividing and reducing that down by 50% each time until I get something that I like. So I'll show you what I mean. So we had subdivisions, I deleted them. Now we're going to start at 20. I'm going to Z-remesh. Who? What? Shane Olson? Hey, what's happening, dude? Everybody, come on, check out Shane Olson. Awesome teacher, awesome dude. Come on, you guys know Shane Olson. You guys know Shane Olson. Anyway, yeah, we're talking about you, buddy. How you doing? My teacher's on the house. All right, so we have this right here. Now we're going to go half and Z-remesh again. And I'm going to do it again. I guess something pretty low. Yeah, that looks pretty good. There we go. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and just do a little bit of a nice little blend just to keep the shapes kind of smooth. There we go. Come through here, sharpening the jawline. I'm just going to refine a little bit first, because then if I don't have to fix it later, I won't need to. You guys know. Get that jaw going. Good, thanks. I would hope everybody knows you, man. There we go. Everyone is a fanny. I could do not like such an awesome. You're too kind, man. You're too kind. I appreciate it. All right. Now let's go ahead and get this remeshed by union. If you want, you can always apply your subdivisions and work from a higher subdivision if you would like to. There's nothing wrong with that. So, you know, you can hit apply and then ZBrush by union here. The trick for Z-remeshing before doing remesh by union is because if you bring in different shapes and objects, if the subdivision or the quads aren't quite the same, it may not stitch together properly. So I just like to de-remesh it, get it down pretty far, refine it, and then remesh by union, whatever works for everybody else. Just make sure that if you do go up a couple, just go ahead and delete your lower. Then let's open up our gizmo. center it without symmetry. You do not want symmetry for this next part. You're going to hit this little cogwheel. You're going to come on down to remesh by unit. What that's going to do is stitch things together. You have a nice clean stitch. And then what you're going to want to do is actually fix this. So if you hit the gizmo, you can kind of see that my cogwheel is orange. That means it's still active, but not set. Oh, come on, grab it. Means I haven't accepted it yet, so it's still not 100% set. But once I start messing with the mesh, it will automatically accept it for me. So I can just turn the cogwheel off. I can grab a brush like SK Clay Brush, which is what I like. And then from there, I'm actually going to go ahead and turn Symmetry on. And then we're going to turn Sculptris Pro on. And now we're going to kind of just blend this together. You can also use the smooth brush. Really any brush, but what we're doing is kind of rebuilding the surface to stitch this together the rest of the way. Not always a clean stitch. There we go. How's it going, Shane? How's your weekend? There we go. Yeah, if you guys are looking to get into stylized art, look no further than Shane. Hop in there. There we go. All right. Now with that, we can go ahead and kind of smooth this down. And I have a fun brush. If you're trying to smooth higher subdivisions down, what you can do is open up your lightbox, go to Brush, go to Smooth, and there's a Smooth Stronger. Hold Shift and double tap that sucker, and you can smooth some good old mesh down. Get that nice and cleaned up. Go. Now let's go ahead and actually remesh this one more time. So I'm going to keep groups. And I'm now going to take this down to, like, let's say 10. And let's go ahead, turn symmetry on, which is good. And let's go ahead and remesh with keeping groups. And let's see what we get. Congratulations! 100 messages. Nice. Oh, good, man. Playing some Genshin at the moment while I listen and watch. Nice, man. Thank you so much for being here, dude. All right. That is... Oh, that's good. So if you get results you don't like, just go ahead and back that up. Let's actually grab the clay brush this time. Drop that focal shift down. Let's clean that up a little bit more. Perfect. And good. Let's go ahead and try that one more time. I could just Dynamesh it too. Whatever floats your boat, whatever works. Dynameshing works the same, so whichever process. I'm trying to use Remesh by Union a bit more, because I feel like you can get some really clean results trying to keep things at a low subdivision level. Okay. You can kind of smooth this down a bit more. So the mesh is still... Oh. Yeah, let's go over the scenes one more time. Go. And we can even turn keep groups off. Let's keep groups. Let's see what we get. All about playing. All right, looking at my reference too, because definitely seeing where I'm going to want to take this guy. Awesome. Now let's go ahead and just start ZBrushing by half. There we go. A little bit better. Ears got a little droopy, but we can fix that. Matters is that it's all connected. Oh, I have smooth stronger on, that's what. Go smooth. Gotta hate droopier. Yeah, no joke, right? There we go. All right. Not too bad. Luckily, like I said, her ear is going to be mostly covered up. But now her mesh is small enough where we could start getting some pretty good proportions fixed and finalized a little bit. So happy with that as a starting block. Let's go ahead and save it. Hey, the Painted Dragon. What's going on, dude? Welcome in the stream. We're attempting some anime at the time. Style I definitely want to get a lot better at. Not a little bit, a lot. Now we could take like the pinch brush. We could start refining these shapes again. That's a lot of it, guys. Refine, clean up, refine, clean up, refine, refine some more, clean up, so you get what you want. I'd say the best advice, best advice I can give is just keep playing with the shapes until it's exactly what you want it to be. I'm going to start pulling that forward a little bit. I think I'm going to push her forehead back. Go. Is the Vegeta in the corner of the final look? No, the Vegeta in the corner is actually just my little gizmo friend to keep me company while I make Netsuko right now. Starting from scratch. Now, the thing that I'm really paying attention to right now, I'm going to go ahead and just trash this here. The thing I'm paying attention to the most is actually this section right here. So I'm going to have to clean this part up here because I actually want this to be as flat as possible. And I want this to blend in this way. So I need to blend this spot and keep this flat as much as possible. So that way, it looks a lot like the anime character. So we want to make sure, like I said, we retain this feel of here. So I'm going to have to bring this back. This is why anime is a relatively difficult style to master, because there's a lot of little things you gotta play with and remember. But ideally, if we just stick to the profile and the head-on, the rest kind of comes into play, and you get the makeup. So, I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to go ahead, hit the arrow key to snap that back. Kind of wanting to see where this is at. Jawline here. The ear comes in. A lot of trying it out, seeing how it works. Now what's really cool is I'm going to go ahead and actually take the mask pen. Okay. I'm actually going to go ahead and mask out where her eyes should be. I'm gonna push that back a little bit. That shape there. Yeah, no, the Vegeta in the corner is actually a piece that I had done a while ago. Vegeta in the corner is actually my second attempt at anime. Mess with it till it feels right. That's what I gotta do. Yeah, that's all you gotta do. Yep. Told you this project actually. I was putting this project off for a while, so pretty excited to get it right. Now, what I am going to do is start bringing this back, bringing this cheek up a little bit, because I'm also, a lot of anime has this kind of feel to it, but this cheekbone here is different for every character. So it's helpful to kind of get a sense of what that would be for the character, but still paying attention to this view right here as being one of the more important ones. So I'm actually going to take a paintbrush now, and let's do some correction. Fill this with white and put our color. I kind of draw a little bit here. Get where some of the markers are. Face. And then the mouth goes about there. Okay, that's not too bad. What I'm going to do now, actually, is I'm going to just go ahead and grab a cylinder. Oh, that's a big cylinder. Scale this down. The cylinder is going to be that bamboo stick that's in her mouth. What I'm going to do is actually just kind of place it as a holder for. Also giving me the sense of the character. Such. And while we're at it, I mean, it's just 1, 2 each side. So let's actually just go ahead, grab ZModeler for a second. Over this edge, I'm going to grab Polygroup. I grab that edge right there. That edge right there, that edge right there. Hover over this Q mesh. Up a little bit. Yep. Here. Actually gonna push that in just a bit. There. Now we have that bamboo stick in front of her face. There we go. That's going to be important for what we're going for. Hey, what's up, Frank? Good to see you, buddy. I've been good. How are you? Any tips for somebody who is focused on props or scared of anatomy? If you're too focused on props, well, okay. Well, hold on. I guess I guess I want to preface: is props what you want to do for a career, or is it something that you're really into over everything else? Or are you doing props because you say you're scared of human anatomy, but are you doing props in lieu of, like, you really want to do character development, but you're just too scared to attempt? I guess that's kind of my question to you first. And then based on how you answer that, I have a suggestion, but I don't want to overstep either. So if you're focused on props as being something you want to go towards, that's one thing. If you're scared of anatomy, I would personally say don't be. It's okay. Don't look at failure as, not learning. Let me put this probably in a better way. The only way to get better is to try, and you're going to fail. That's reality. It's going to happen. But don't be scared of that, because that failure is going to lead to success, because you're going to learn on how not to do certain things, and you're going to learn on how you want to move forward. So with the first time you do an arm, it's going to be scary because you're like trying to get everything perfect, right? Don't do that. Just make an arm as best you can and use reference, and then have somebody critique it or self-critique and say, does it look right? What doesn't look right about it? Then from there, try again. The only way you're going to get better is if you try. So if you're too scared to attempt it, then that's not going to allow you to grow as an artist. And if you want to grow as an artist, you need to it's okay to be scared, but take that feeling and put it in and say, try. I'm deathly scared right now. I'm not even kidding you. I am terrified that I'm like not doing this right. Anime is like one of those things I want to get done right, but I know it's going to take me a lot longer than doing the zombie Captain America bust, because that's my style. That's like, I take stylized and reality and I mold them together into this thing, but I'm going very much out of my comfort zone right now, and I'm doing it all in front of you guys. And that's to show you, don't be scared. It's only going to benefit you to get those jitters out the way early by attempting it a few times. It's okay to fail. All part of learning. That's all part of just getting better. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get, and you'll start seeing improvements over time. So, yeah. But you really like the props department? That's okay. That's great. If you really like the props department, then you're headed in a good direction. You're already liking it. But if you're avoiding human anatomy and you want to do it, but you're too scared, take those feelings and just give it a shot. Just try it. You don't have to post everything to Instagram either, guys. Like, don't post everything to Instagram. Don't feel this need to be on social media and post everything you do. That's not beneficial to anybody, really. Like, and don't compare yourself to others. Try something. Put yourself out in a safe place. Like, if you guys are trying to learn character artists, right? Like, okay, a little bit of backstory. I was trying to get better at becoming a character artist because that's what I wanted to do. I loved figures. I loved statues. I was like, I want to do that. I was mashing things together and doing okay, but I had no idea what to do. So that's when you attempt things, you try it, but it's okay to get like a mentorship. It's okay to find a good teacher like Shane Olsen or Spicer to come in and like help you through that process. That learn by doing method is going to help you succeed in the long run, because you're going to be getting experience as you move forward. So don't be scared. Let me rephrase that. It's okay to be scared, but don't let that feeling control you. Just know that when you do feel that way, attempt it with caution, like I'm doing. We've been on now for an hour and a half, and I barely have a pose and I barely have a head. So it's okay. You guys are doing great. So keep pushing. Thanks, guys. Like walking. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. I have a background in Rhino, and I just started working with ZBrush. Do you have any suggestions for somebody who's about 20 to 30 hours into learning ZBrush? Just keep going. Just keep going and keep doing. Seriously, that's my advice. Just keep trying, practicing, playing around. Yep. Seriously, like, it will all come in good time. Absolutely, guys. You guys are very welcome. Thank you guys for being here and listening to me. But yeah, no, you guys are doing great. Like I said, I'm currently terrified of this project, but the only way I'm going to get better is if I do it, right? So here we go. We're doing it. We're doing it. It's so nerve-wracking, but I love it. Okay. If anybody can vouch for the fact that I'm terrified, got Ryan in here. Probably, I'm sure Shane knows. Snickles knows. Like, for people in here who know me, I'm like, ah. But give it a shot. I mean, hey, we got the essence of a head, guys. We're doing pretty well. Doing well. Okay. I'm gonna keep it pretty. I'm gonna actually change the subdivision level. It's at 2, so I'm gonna delete higher, delete lower. So that's gonna give me just a little bit more resolution, 13 thou. But then I can hit D again and go to like kind of a higher subdivision, but still keeping that dynamic going. And let's go with a pinch brush, and we're gonna pinch some shapes here real quick. Right here, trying to keep this edge here flat against the head. Here, we can do this, keeping that shape going pretty well. This is the side of the head where anatomy comes in pretty well. You kind of pinch this area here. So I'm using the pinch brush to create plane changes to refine these shapes on where the eyes could go. And really quick with anime, one of the things that I have learned recently, which is pretty nice, is there we go. Is we're working on a 3/4 aspect. So if we get this, again, we're trying to find the center of the head, be about here. So from this point to this point, the mouth to here, this should be all about 1/3 of this half. And then the rest up here is the rest of the head. Okay, and then this part right here is also 1/2, not 1/4, 1/2, and then this part right here, 1/2. So we're working with most of the face is going to revolve right here in the lower half or lower quarter, I should say, of this head right here. So that's where the face is primarily going to lie. So that's something to keep in mind too. Again, just come right back to this angle here, turn on that poly frame, and let's take our move brush. Let's get that tweaked a little bit more. Not a problem, guys. Thank you so much. Great teacher. Oh, thanks, Frank. No idea. This is a. Hey, how can I get Maya for just doing hard server? I have no idea. Remember, guys, this is a Pixologic stream, so keep it to Pixo related topics. But you know, yes, there are other programs that do hard surface and stuff, but I'm not quite sure. You can do it, buddy. Oh, thanks, man. Okay. Okay. Not quite sure if I understand your question more leading into that. All right. So this is where we are at the moment. Now I want to refine her profile just a little bit more. So what we're going to do is go ahead and take this one. I'm going to close that one out. I'm going to bring this one back to life. We're going to try to match this head to this head. Bring that here. Okay, so we have a little bit of shaping to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Move Infinite brush. We're going to start bringing these shapes together. Smooth. I'm using the Move Infinite brush, even though I'm doing both sides. It's to really make sure that I grab and pull everything from that side I need. Move Infinite brush is really good for that. Now, I'm just going to focus on getting the main shape of her mouth right here. I'm going to take this plane. I'm actually going to kind of sculpt this down here, down a little bit. Cut out. Now, I think this is a little bit too. I have to make that a little bit bigger now. Big. Pull that back in there. Now I'm going to take the trim dynamic and I'm actually going to start trimming this part here. Make that soft a little bit, smooth that down. Go. You can go back and forth quite a bit. Like I said, this is something new, so I'm going to get a good chunk of that. Now I'm going to turn this part on, and now I'm going to go ahead and actually size this head to where I want it. So just because we can't really, you know, I don't want to lose symmetry in any way, shape, or form, but I want to make sure that the head proportion is correct. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go ahead and duplicate it by hitting Control-Shift-D. I'm going to bring that over and turn the I'm going to turn on transparent. I'm going to kind of line this up. And you can see here it's very, very big. We want the head to stay within roughly the box that we're in. So I'm actually going to scale this down and make sure that it's working. Not quite sure what happened there. Try one more time. Good. This can be my temporary head that I keep the right size where I need it to be. Where are we? Pass lasso. I'm actually going to lasso this area here, soften that up. Up. Something like that. Start moving things around a bit. Again, this is just now going to become my placeholder so I can have the right scale. Should be fine. Okay. That doesn't matter. Oh, that's the way to do it. There we go. Go. Yeah. Pretty good. All right, now what we can do is we can actually take this head, and here's what we're going to do. I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to take the slice curve, okay, and I'm actually going to slice off this portion. just like this. And I'm actually going to go ahead and say split hidden, and then I'm going to close holes. And close holes can be found under geometry, modify topology, and close holes. I'm going to push down the arrow key, and I'm going to do the exact same thing here. Okay. This way I can always have my reference, but now I can start messing with the body and getting some of the anatomy built. So let's do that. So we have a head base, head position. So this one will be, let's rename some stuff. We'll call this T-pose for the head. We'll call this one, let's go ahead, reference. Again, we're doing this whole thing asymmetrically to get the pose right in the gate. This is her bamboo mouthpiece. I really don't know what else to call that. I like Gundam. To be honest, probably blasphemy, but I know of it, but I have not seen it. Sorry. That probably hurts a few of you. Hey, Smash, how you doing? Sorry, I didn't see your comment earlier. How you doing, man? All right. Now we can turn that part off. Now we have this. Let's start building some of the anatomy. And this will be a lot of fun. So when building the anatomy, what we want to actually remember is we want to keep our center lines as true as possible. Okay? So the center of the chest and the center of the back need to always line up. Always. All right. So we're going to start with that center line. Then we're going to kind of draw out where the pecs should be. Kind of get an idea of it. You can use the clay buildup. Start getting a little bit of this together. Now, even with from male to female, the main difference to remember with anatomy is that the bone structure is different and women hold fat in different places, but for the most part, okay, it's going to be roughly the same starting points. So we're going to block out certain things like the deltoids. Shoulders come down about halfway down the arm, right? We're going to kind of just block out some of here. Trapezius muscle. I'm not somebody who knows the names 100% by heart, but I try my best. Push this back in a little bit. Figure out where that shoulder blade would be. Twisting a little bit. Doing good. I hope the sculpt is going well for you. It is doing pretty well, actually. Pretty excited about it. This is where, guys, the reference is really going to come in, right? So I have my crochet here. So I can come in here and actually just start looking at that model. Here's something else, too. If you guys would like an active crochet within ZBrush, check this out. This is really cool. There's a few ways you can actually go. You can go to Tool, and they have this Ryan Kingsley crochet right here. So you just hit the comma key, go up to Tool, pop this bad boy in, double clicking it, and if we hit unsolo, you actually see here that there's a female crochet model within ZBrush. I forgot to tell you that earlier. Always keeping you on your toes. So this is really good too to have for reference. If you need something right off the gate, and you can actually click certain areas, like we can get rid of the breast tissue and have this. Now the skeleton is female, so you don't want to match skeletons, but if you're just looking for quick reference on a male character, this is one way to do it. But if you are going for a female character, this is always in here, which is nice. Right, so just little stuff. Not funny. Get the clavicles brought in here. Keeping this very loose, by the way. Lats come in here. Lats always come from underneath the armpit here. So just start it from that point. And a little bit of fat raging here. I'm going to go ahead and Dynamesh this. I'm going to go ahead and go to Geometry, Dynamesh, and turn Dynamesh on. Actually lower that resolution a little bit. So keep it nice and loosey-goosey. Using Blender for the first time. Doing my donut. Nice, man. Nice. Enjoy watching this. So much inspiration. Awesome. I'm glad I could be helpful in any way, shape, or form. We got to remember that the pectoral muscle is attached to, I believe this bone is the humerus. Spicer, don't chew me out if that's wrong. But this section right here, okay, really rotates. It's kind of a U shape, so this part connects. So when the arm moves, your pec moves, right? You have your pec minor, your pec major. So that moves. So you want to make sure that when your arm is going back, that there is actual tension right here. Happens. Even on a female. You want to get that range of motion out. Again, let's take this deltoid here. So we have a little bit of more forward motion on this arm. Again, deltoid's going to come down to about halfway. At about here. Hitting too many keys too fast. B, C, B. Now this character, Netsuko, is pretty strong, and she has the ability to bulk up. And so we get a little bit of leeway with her character, but we still, at the end of the day, want to make sure, okay, that we keep her true to the character's shape. So we don't want to go too crazy, but you guys know the show. She gets pretty insane. Now when you're laying muscle, too, it's okay to go a little bit bigger. You can always tone it down. It's just important that you get the shapes the way you want them correct. Heck is more going up at this point. Here, this was up there. Okay. Now what we're going to do is lay out some of the leg anatomy here real quick. Now her bum is sticking out a little too far. Tone that up a little bit. Now from the back region, we're going to come around. Okay, follow that center line. We're going to sculpt that part in. This part's important. Keeping that front and back, the spinal cord and the sternum, right? They always stay true to each other, always. So that's where we're keeping that. Okay. Now this is where what I recommend doing as well. Okay, now I have some reference I can show you. All right. But I want to show you a quick website that I use all the time. Yeah. You guys might know it. called figurosity. Hopefully I said that right. But you have muscle structures and stuff like that you can utilize as well. So I'm going to do that off screen, but you can click a model that you're looking for, then you can get that muscle structure, and you can kind of see how those muscles move in that pose, get a better sense of it. Just threw my accuracy on the floor because I bumped it with my fat hands. Look, he's still good. Just all over the place. So what we're going to do now is kind of use some of this and get this moving. All right. I just break everything on stream. Don't mind me. All right, we got a muscle that's coming around here. Let's actually go a little bit harder. I'm going to sculpt in. So we got this muscle that comes around like that. Oh. Hello, how are you, DD07? Wow, how are you doing? Is that like Dungeons and Dragons, James Bond, and World of Warcraft all combined? Such a pretty cool name. Alright. Looking at my reference. Making sure that it's all the way it needed to be. Build up a little bit of bulk right here. Right. A little bit of underlining muscle. Did I use Z spheres? Z as in Z? Yes. Actually, I started with Sakaki, or as some of you might know, SK. I used his mannequin for this project, and I highly recommend you guys go check out his stuff. If you're looking for his brushes, or looking for a fun little mannequin to start with. But yes, basically just start with a mannequin. A great way to get your pose locked in. And if you're crazy like me, you're going to start asymmetrically sculpting it. Tell everybody else to do it too. It does have a Gumroad. Actually, here, I'm going to give you a link right now. You guys have to check out his stuff. Absolutely, hands down. Have to. Not only do you get, not only does he have mannequin packs, he has 0.6.6 update version that works out well. But he also has base meshes to work with, custom shaders. Guys, these brushes are amazing, right? So, and they're free. So, get them, and then tell them Ira Sculpt sent you. He made me do it. What is Gumroad? Gumroad is kind of like like Patreon almost, except for you can just sell random stuff on there, and you don't have to be subscribed forever. Just a nice little place you can get. All right. Now, if you're ever stuck on a pose I highly encourage that you look up reference. Okay, can't hurt. That eventually you'll want to get to a spot where you don't really need to rely on it, but you definitely want to refine. But I'm not trying to get massive amounts of detail right now, so getting a nice little block out is good. And if you sculpt in the direction of where the muscle should be, it's going to look more natural. If I try to build this leg up by doing this, right, it might look okay, but more likely it's going to give me weird issues. So if I know the muscle fibers are going in this direction, right, this is where the muscle fibers are going, then that's the area in which I'm going to sculpt in. That's the direction that I'm going to choose to sculpt in, because that's going to give me the best results. So always go in the direction of how the muscles are. Even if you're not locking in the muscle placements per se, just sculpt in that direction. It's going to give you the best result. Build up this calf. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to mask off this area right here. I'm going to build the calf up now. Calf is two major muscles. You can think of it as lying down the backside. Kind of think of it as like a awkward little turkey leg. One right here coming up. Now what we're going to do here is actually use the move brush. Maybe the move infinite brush. We're going to get this kind of pushed a little bit. Now knees are kind of like little shields, because where your knee pivots is actually a floating joint. You have floating cartilage, and so when you're, like you can see, so basically when it moves, the way it moves here, so you have your little bit of cartilage right here, right? Then your bones come this way. So cartilage floats, your cartilage shifts with your knee so that you can move it however you need to. So knees look a little bit more round, but you still get kind of like a little bit of a flat indentation. So we want to make sure that we get it nice and round, but then we can kind of flatten out the shape a little bit, make it look a little bit more realistic. Again, here. So guys, just so you know, these models will take as long as they take. Never rush them. You know, especially if it's a personal project, you don't feel the need to rush it. Just take your time, lock in those shapes as best you can. All right. Study your anatomy, and things will start really, really coming together. Hamstrings are kind of like the bicep of the arm, right? Bicep is two muscles. Hamstring, you have this nice little split down the middle here. So we get to kind of make sure that we sculpt that in that direction. And notice I'm working all over the body. I'm not just staying in one spot. Really working it all around. Man, so much knowledge. Don't worry, you guys can replay this back on Pixologic YouTube. So make sure to go subscribe to that. And I'm trying to keep everything as even as possible. It comes out like this. Go. Right. Kind of work on this calf. So this is the downside, right, to working asymmetrically, is that I have to do every piece all at once, right? But here's the pro side. Once I get it sculpted and it's already in pose, I don't have much more tweaking to do. Like if I realize that the pose can be adjusted a little bit more, she's already in the pose that I want her in for the most part. So it won't be that big of a stretch to just bend a knee or anything of the sort. So there's always pros and cons to stuff. This is definitely a longer process, but I felt it would be the best way to do this justice. So that's what we're doing. Come in here, kind of just define that bony shape. You suggest doing this even though the character's wearing clothes. Actually, what's funny is when I do my clothing, this is more of a personal preference, and also depends on your project, because if you're working in games, that's a whole different category. But for statue work, I actually recommend blocking out basic clothing shapes, simple, low resolution that can be deformed easily. If you're in T-pose, get it posed, then refine, because clothing has memory wrinkles, and then they have memory wrinkles, which are the wrinkles that are naturally there all the time, and then they have wrinkles. I forget the proper term, but then wrinkles are formed when deformation or movement occurs. So my shirt, for example, right, that I'm wearing right now, I have basic simple wrinkles, but once I move, now all of that pinching occurs. So you're going to want to refine those shapes once it's posed, but getting something blocked out in T-pose is always a good idea. It brings so much life to the character, but I wouldn't suggest taking it fully detailed, high resolution without attempting to pose it. Yeah, with games, you want to sculpt your whole character as high-res T-pose, and then you want to get a lower mesh. Then you want to start baking details, because that lower mesh is going to get animated, but you still need all that information. So working with figurines like I do, or statues, is a lot different than working with games. Which isn't a DBC shirt. Kind of bummed about that. I know, I went a little simple. I didn't want to mix animes. So, yeah. All sorts of different processes. All right, speaking of the bicep, right, we're going to go ahead and kind of build this up. Now, biceps are, again, talking about movement. When your arm is up, your bicep is curled up. So there's going to be a little bit of a, when we get our bicep in here, it's not a long bicep, right? It's actually going to be a much shorter bicep because it's moving. So there's going to be like a little bit of a bump here. And we got to get that horseshoe tricep going on in the back. Then, if I remember right, got your brachialis right here. Moves up and meets into the arm. Okay. Kind of all over the place here. Then we have our forearm. Now, our forearm is kind of like, think of it like a hamstring, but now you can rotate it, right? So you have this, you have your radial. Oh, totally dropped what the name of that was. But your arm has two bones. Spicer's going to totally get me on this. And it rotates over this way. So I want to make sure that you get that kind of little bit of a split right there. Also, that comes in here and then right. here have our name bone. I totally dropped the name on that. Told you guys, I don't know the names 100%. It's like a language. Anatomy's like a language. So definitely a lot to do there. Most importantly, just know where the placement is. And then, you know. Yo, what is up? How you doing? Forearm muscles here? So this part right here is actually a little bit kind of flat right there. Now we'll refine that a little bit more, but you can see we're starting to see this character come to life, right? Really starting to see this all kind of happen nicely. I'm gonna readjust this. I actually feel like it could be a little bit smaller. And let's move that head position a bit more. And again, this head position is just reference right now. But this reference gives us stuff like this, where we can move the trapezius muscles up, make sure that they connect the way we need them to connect to in her neck. So we can actually get all of this right. You need a Demon Slayer shirt for next week. All right, yeah, I think I do. Yep. I'm sure my local Hot Topic will have something. Now, I don't want to make her too bulky either. Okay? We want to make sure we avoid that. But let's get all the proper muscle placements down. We need the shoulder blades to come in. There's a bit of fat right there, so let's get the shoulder blades up. Go. All this goodness in here. Go, smooth it down a little bit. See, lots of little stuff now on the buttocks region. See a little bit of a flat spot here. Now, there's a good chunk of her anatomy that is going to be hidden by her clothing. We want to make sure that we just get the basic shapes down, but we don't need to go too crazy. What am I using to annotate the draw on the screen? I'm actually I'm actually pressing and holding S. So if you go up to Preferences, and I believe it's under Interface, click. Yep, you have Use Sticky Keys. It's default off. So if you push S and hold it, nothing happens, but it allows you to click and stuff. But if I like that feature, it was a new feature that was introduced in 2021, I believe. And then it was causing too many problems, so they turned it off by default. But you could just come in here to Interface, click, use stick keys, hold S, and now you can just, while holding S, adjust that draw size however you need it, and you are good to go. Now, real quick here, I'm going to use the female anatomy guide as a good reference, because notice here, we actually have this muscle right here. Let's go ahead and clear this up. Have this here, just wrapping around. Okay. Have the gluteus maximus. This area. And notice that the muscles are back of the rib cage is pushing up in this direction. But this shape right here, we can look at this as one kind of nice S-curve shape that comes up and connects. So we can look at it like this shape right here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Shift S to kind of stamp this. So I can use this as reference, go back to my main model, right? Now I can look at this area and say, okay, great. I need to kind of pull this out. So we can build up from here, just like in that spot right there. We can build that section up. Now we have this. I'm going to actually really redefine these lat muscles here. I'm going to go a little bit bigger than I normally would, just so I can see. And her hips, right? So we have this kind of, we have this high waist here. If you look at the drawing here, there's the underside of her breast tissue, and then not too far, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 ribs down. That's where her waist transitions. So we have this kind of hourglass shape that's happening. So we want to replicate that. It's nice and appealing. So I'm going to come here, grab the move brush, and actually kind of bring this stuff out and start pushing this in a little bit. The blue lines that you were doing earlier, when Nee is talking about it. So I'm actually using this, sorry about that. I'm actually using this feature called Epic Pen. It's a free download. And so I'm able to turn it on and actually be able to draw on top of the surface, and then close the eye, turns it off, and I'm back able to program. Epic Pen. What brush do I recommend for ab muscles? I use clay buildup for most of everything. I think that would work out really good for you. So, yeah, clay buildup is fine. The clay brush is also a really good brush. Those are both really, really good. So, I would suggest using one of those for pretty much all muscles. And for the clay, just hit BCL. You want to use clay. Clay acts a little bit more like a fill brush, a bit. Now, what I want to really pay attention to as well, hit F here, quick, ooh, scary face, is her hip bones. So, if her waist is right here, her waist, and this is right here, the growing area, so we have kind of V shape. We have these hip bones. Now, hips, you can see here, one of the things to really remember, especially when sculpting female characters, is we don't have like this kind of just roundness. We have a little bit, we have this rib cage right here. Okay, this is the rib cage, the body, and that creates a plane change. That rib cage comes down, and the abdomen kind of swoops up a little bit, and then it pulls back like such. Okay, so we have this, everything on the body is kind of an S-curve. You know what I mean? Like everything on the body. The back the same too, the way the rib cage is flowing, the way the muscles work. So we're really looking for this shape. It's almost like an amoeba. Right? We're kind of getting this shape right here. It comes in like that. So that's a lot what we're looking for when it comes to our sculpts. So right now we need to kind of get that replicated a bit. So this is going to get pushed in a little bit. Then our hips are right here, so we need to bring that hip joint up. Okay. You take the clay buildup, so BCB. Get that hip joint in there. That's what really starts making everything kind of come to life a bit. Hip joint. Now we're gonna have to mess with that, but that's a little there. Hey, not a problem. Yep. Let's see. Is it possible that you can show me how I'm making them? I'm making them right now, Frank. Actually, I'm using the clay buildup, and one of the tricks that I recommend that you do, and I mentioned this earlier in the stream, but you probably weren't here. What I would recommend doing is understanding where the muscles flow, how the muscles flow on the body, and when the muscle fibers are flowing in this direction, right? That's the direction that you sculpt. So take your clay buildup brush and just sculpt in that direction. Don't do this, okay? Because that's going to look weird. Sculpt in that direction, and that's going to really start to make things look a lot better, okay? So that's more important than anything else. So just sculpt in the direction of how that's going. Actually, critique her bow tie is a little funky. Let's change it. Go. But yeah, that's what you do, Frank. Hey, what is up, Wilford? How you doing? Not a problem. My wife's a lawyer, and she saw me using Epic Pen, and now her whole office uses it. That's so awesome. It is awesome. Epic Pen is great. It's a good way to showcase when you need to show something off. It's also just a good way to take notes. Good way to hide notes. Because you have this eye right here, right? So you just like, hi, bloop, bloop. Get my funky little heart, and then your teacher's walking by. What's funny is I like hiding this within my ZBrush where it's not so obvious, and you'd be surprised how many people actually won't even notice that it's there until I point it out. But yeah, I just like to hide it there. And then you can delete it real quick. Bloop. There is Control Z, by the way, so just be careful with that. There you go. Secrets. All right, let's. All right. Now, here's what I recommend too. If you can try to get into the pose you're sculpting, that's going to help you so much. But let me tell you, that's very hard to do with a lunging pose like this. So try your best to find as much reference as possible. Now we're going to look at the back muscles real quick, okay? So this is something to remember. This is how I remember the gluteus maximus, okay? Remember that heart that I drew right now? Check this out. This is how I remember it, okay? And then there's a diamond. Hearts to diamonds. This is how I remember this section right here. So, I'm going to go ahead and hide this. Everyone hearts. It's for a reason. It's for a reason. We're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to take the damn standard. Okay. They're going to come up. I'm going to go ahead and kind of heart this area out. Okay. This is going to make me see where some plane changes occur. Okay, trying to keep it as even as possible. They already got that diamond in there, right? Now, the way the muscle fibers run. Okay, the way the muscle fibers will run, you're gonna along the line, start here. So they're gonna kind of come here. Think of it kind of like how the chest or the deltoid responds. Okay, and it goes in this direction. So we're gonna be doing the exact same thing. We're gonna take that clay buildup. Okay, but where that plane change occurs is a little bit of the intersection, because the way the muscles work is that the glute muscles actually go in, and then there's a connection spot right there, right? Creating a little indentation right about there. Now this rounds out when you try to sit, because you have full range of motion, but it's a good way to get this under a bit. Depends on what you're sculpting for. Exactly, hero. Alright, so we're gonna get that going in like that. We're gonna kind of smooth this area out. Now remember these back muscles, again, the way the rib cage is, blowing up a little bit. Okay. Now when it starts looking a little odd, go in there and you start cleaning that up a bit. What I like to do is I like to create a little V shape here where the legs separate. Kind of helps everything kind of come together. There are some muscles that protrude out this way when the legs widen, so they're all good points of contact to remember. So by creating a little bit of a V down here, it really just kind of helps you the rest of it. Okay, I'm gonna smooth that down. Just getting again, we're still just blocking out, you know, because doing everything asymmetrical does take time, but getting that body in motion really does help. Go. I warned you guys, it's going to be a long project, but I think you guys are going to love it. We are sculpting Frame World. Demon Slayer fan art piece. We are doing Tanjiro and Nexugo. Doing Nexugo right now. This will be the piece. This is going to be a fully fledged statue. This actually is going to take me a while, since I'm not going to be working on it every day. We're going to be mainly doing the majority of the work here during ZBrush, but there will be a lot of topics along the way to cover, from anime heads, which we started already a little bit, to clothing, to posing, which we're currently on, anatomy, balance. Like, we have a lot of stuff. Look at all the reference that I started gathering, and I haven't even really dove deep in the main reference. But here's something to remember: when you're doing characters, or you're doing work with multiple characters in the same piece, try to get the height and scale of each character. Notice that Tanjiro is 165 centimeters tall, Nezuko is 153. These are all things to remember if you try to keep it as close and true to the original source as possible. So, right now we're covering a block out of our main character. So, and we're sculpting asymmetrically, so it takes a little bit longer, but I truly believe this was the right approach for it. And if not, we're going to learn a lot, guys. I preach learn by doing. So I'm sure some of you are going to be like, oh, he's doing. He's learning and he's doing. Go. That little flat spot I was telling you about earlier. Little shield happening here. The knee. Again, we're painting in the right direction. making sure that the volume is relatively close to what we need. It's already 7:30. Holy moly. Control Z's our friend when we mess up. Go. Just so you guys know, if you guys start getting things where the mesh is a little funky, we can always fix our mesh by going down to Geometry, Mesh Integrity, hit Fix Mesh. If you ever get some kind of funky broken mesh. We're still blocking out. Let's get the brachialis right here. That's coming up. Make sure that the deltoids are right where we need it. Also, too, we're going to make this B spot right here happen. Okay, because the chest wraps around the rib cage. Go. Jump in way ahead, but I know. Just gonna hold on. Let's see. Are you going to do some demons surrounding them, like in the picture? Even a low detail would be cool. Implement into a base. We will see how I do that. The two characters I'm doing is already a pretty massive undertaking, but I don't know. That might be something for a future piece. But yeah, that would be pretty cool. Maybe what we'll do is we'll do like a demon head or two, and we'll put that on the base that they're standing on, so the base is interactive, giving you more of a sense on what's happening. So maybe we'll do something a little bit more about that. But I love where your head is at. So yeah, to be 100% frank, and I hadn't even considered what the base is going to look like yet. So actually love the idea. We'll keep you me. Okay. Now this might sound a little interesting and different, but in order for me to make sure that I'm not seeing a male character, I like to try to get the breast tissue in as quickly as possible. And if you are struggling with just making tear duct shapes, what you can do, just come in here, isolate one of these. This will always get us started. There we go. Grab that one. Go ahead and delete hidden, and we can just go ahead and copy this. Right? And then what we can do, yeah, copy that. Perfect. Then what we can do is actually just go ahead and paste it. Turn solo. Right here. Send that gizmo on. Send that bad boy home. Okay. And we have to know that we grabbed which one that we grabbed. Again, to make sure that we are putting them where we need them to be. Way too big, so we can scale that down. It's important not to go too far ahead of yourself. So if getting in certain features helps you recognize what it is you're doing, the more the merrier. Okay, we're going to have to manipulate it the rest of the way. Sculpts. Now what we can do is actually Dynamesh this on its own. So let's go to Geometry, Dynamesh, and let's turn that on. Up a few times. Delete lower. I grab that resolution, Dynamesh again. Now what we can do is just grab this real quick, move that over there, And we can do a mirror and weld. Symmetry. And just a bit. Turn off symmetry. Make that a different poly group. Start moving things around until it fits the way it's forward. Bit. Make sure it's not crossing over the center, because that would be weird. Back a little bit. Angled. Start getting in the proper shapes you need. Going to be pushed up a bit. Now, this is going to be covered with most of her clothing, so we just need an idea going on. Grab your select rec. Okay, fine. Auto groups there. Go. Everything. Go through, at least want to get most of the anatomy blocked out. That horseshoe happening. Go. Now her arm is straight, so the bicep is going to be a lot straighter. Actually, just go ahead and isolate this portion of her arm. Okay. Come through. Now notice I don't even really care about the hand position or anything about that. I'm just trying to get the basic shapes going. Hopefully this was pretty helpful for you guys too, to see like how you would approach something like this. Understanding the anatomy, all that stuff is very important. I'm going to do save it. I haven't saved in a while. I'm actually going to go ahead and let's up this resolution. Yep. Go, something like that. And then I'm actually going to merge these two together. So what I'm going to do is go up to this one, and I'm going to merge down, say yes. Now here's what's really cool is we can just hit auto groups. That will group the body as a separate one, and then it's going to group the breast tissue as another one. And if we want, we can go to Dynamesh and turn off. Oops, we can turn off groups. So we go to geometry. We turn on groups, I'm sorry. And then when we Dynamesh, it actually will keep that separate. Now that kind of... that break? That break? Interesting. Go to mesh integrity, check mesh in, fix it. All right. Go. That way we can keep that, and we can always change that if we need to. Fill in the block. Go. I'll start refining a little bit. Hands we'll do next week. If you guys want to actually take the time to kind of watch this back over, or even attempt to sculpt with, feel free to do so. But trying to get arm looking good here. Let's back up. Go. Hello, A-Cubed. Hello, hello. What's up, Ashley? How you doing? You all know Ashley, one of the greatest Pixologic streamers of all time. Super talented artist. Come on, you guys know her. How you doing? Doing some asymmetrical sculpting and really challenging ourselves. How are you doing? There we go. But. It's better now that you've seen the butt tonight. Well, I'm glad I can help you with that. I'm attempting to get better at an anime style, so challenged myself here in front of a few people to, you know, help me reach my goals. But it at least looks like the thing is supposed to kind of look like. Right. Okay, so let's get that main shape in here. Again, on this spot here, we're going to need to make sure that the hip joints are in the right spot for her. Hip bones. So again, bouncing everywhere, always bouncing around all over the place is going to help you really keep everything as even as possible. Yeah, I'm not Canadian. I'm Californian. I'm just the guy and trying to take over the world. You know. All right. Really start bringing in a lot of that anatomy. Again, always painting or always sculpting in the direction of the muscle. It's really going to help. Makes everything look a lot more like it should. Keep sculpting butts in the old rules soon. Yay! That's the plan. If you want to see the full project, Ash, check us out. I don't know if you know Demon Slayer, but this is the piece that we're doing. And I thought, you know what? Wait, why not do it asymmetrical? So what I did was I took SK's base mesh and posed his mannequin, and then from there, because I didn't really want to have to deal with forms and proportions too much from scratch. So already a pretty massive undertaking. Big butt model cell and the one asking 3D model group. I know, right? Yeah. So again, really just trying to keep it all pretty uniform. I feel like I broke this arm a little bit. So may want to try to correct that. And your arm, that's your best reference. Thing with this muscle here that's really cool, that kind of wraps. Like it kind of like hugs it. Think of it kind of like a little bit of a triangle. You can kind of tackle this side in here. Fairly decent. What else is there to do but by gander? Exactly. Yeah, this is so true. Yeah, I just always look at it from all sides. We need a butt cam. Come I'm on it, Shane. I'm on it. All right. Remember I said with the bicep too, guys, right here, bicep is, her arm's bent, so there's going to be that nice little intersection right there. Let's get underneath that arm. So let's go ahead and grab that right there. So it's good to kind of isolate when you can. There we go. And now this comes up. Still have a little bit of that dip in it. A little bit of a flat spot right there. Right there. The biggest thing to do is just really try to study your anatomy as much as you can. But don't be afraid. Dane, of course, man. Of course. Wouldn't have had it any other way. Doesn't take much to push me over the edge. Alright, we'll fix that. Okay, this elbow needs to come in like such. I feel like this is just way too massive. Let's pull that bit. There we go, that looks better. Yeah, it's already looking. Didn't realize it was a full. Just now realized. Exactly. Come on, man, keep up. Alright, guys, we got about 20 minutes left. You guys are afraid to ask questions. Alright. I think now would be a good time kind of just overall assess everything. Make sure it's working the way I need it to work. Volume is looking good, so like this arm is a lot smaller. But also too, it looks like I'm gonna need to tone this arm down a little bit, so let's at least get the muscle structure on there. And let's actually just grab this arm. Again, it's solo. Move brush. So the forearm muscle is very unique. The way I try to remember the forearm muscle, if you're just trying to block it out, if you're just trying to block out the forearm muscle, I highly recommend that you kind of just think of like a little bit of a turkey bone. Okay, then this will go into the wrist. But when you're working with the actual muscles themselves, I take a line. Now this line that I'm going to be drawing is dependent on, because your forearm rotates, it's dependent on your hand placement. So if your thumb or if your hand was palm down, so let's say this was palm down, then what's going to happen is that these muscles over here are going to overlap. So this is going to actually kind of rotate in and underneath. So it's going to kind of make this shape here. Let me draw that better. So I'm going to start here. So this is come down. I'm going to come up to that wrist. This forearm muscle here, the brachialis, is going to come over. Kind of flow in this direction. So this is that flowing shape that I want. Then this is going to come over here. Going to kind of wrap around. Okay, so you want to keep this basic shape in mind. And there's a gap here. Okay, and then the bicep actually connects right in. So we want to keep that in mind when we're making the forearm. I like to take the damn standard and I like to draw that kind of around into where the wrist would be. It's gonna help me with that placement. Let's see here. I guess I need to go and look up that anatomy references. Will it be done before the live ends? No, this will not be done. This is going to be a very huge project. So this is going to be the course of a lot of streams. I start at 5 Pacific Daylight Time, so almost 3 hours ago. I stream every Sunday at the same time. This project is going to be huge. I just finished. This is the starting of the project too, by the way. We're doing 2 characters. So this is the whole statue that we're doing. So it's going to be Tanjiro and Nexugo from Demon Slayer. It's going to be a full, like, interactive piece. So, like, she's lunging off his back, like, very, very huge. But if you guys want to see the piece I just finished before I go, I literally just finished it. Check this out. So yeah, Bunny, that's when I'll be streaming every Sunday. Yep. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but super cool, and it's gonna be super awesome. So, just give you an idea. So I'm definitely gonna be moving. Now I'm moving more in an anime style for this piece, but what I love about anime is the face just has to be anime. Everything else can be pretty good. So, that's how a Captain Great. Thanks, thank you. Yeah, super cool. Thanks, Shane. Can I get the STL? Okay, yeah. So, guys, just gonna plug when I drop stuff. When I sculpt most of the stuff I do here on the streams, it's not my own work. Like, I mean, it's not client work. It's my own sculpts. So when I release stuff that I do here, everything that I do on my Pixel streams will be released on the STL. Gonna be released. You guys take this link right here. Also can't speak today. Bloop. Take this link and click. Go ahead and click it. Blah 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 blah. I'll show you right here. This free one, free toy statues. Everything I do here, I've decided I'm just going to be releasing to you guys. So follow me over here on my cults, and you can see a lot of the statues that I've done before that I've showcased here. I give away. We did the stone talisman statue. That's coming up. So you guys can go ahead and download that now. Everything is tested, so have fun, enjoy it. But yeah, I've just decided everything I do here, I release. So yes, Zombie Cap will be coming very, very soon. So just follow me there. It'll be good. Of course. I love giving the tips as much as I can. Yeah. I'm really, really, really excited about how this piece that we're working on right now. So there we go. My Mini Factory, that's a website where you can upload your STLs or download STLs. Same with Cults 3D. I've just decided Cults 3D is a better place for me to drop free STLs. Just a way to give you guys a little something, something, something. So yeah. All right. We're gonna get more into the clothing next stream and finalizing her face. So, but we got a few more minutes. Let's do it. Did I not drop it? Yeah. The link I just dropped, that goes to my link tree, and then the very top one takes you straight to that. You can also check out my ArtStation, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff. I am not super active on YouTube at the moment, or Twitch. I work all the time. So Instagram. I even have a Discord if you guys would like to join it. You can hang out. It's just a little fun community for artists to join, hang out, share their work, ask questions, get feedback from each other. It's just a spot where people can feel comfortable and just want to hang out. So if you want to join me over there, it's also the best place to get a hold of me. If you have a question, I have time to answer it. I always try my best. You can pop them in there. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna be working on Zombie Cat this week, so hopefully I get him 3D printable by next week, hopefully. Having problems sculpting anime faces, next stream will be awesome. Absolutely. So what we did for this one was we got a base mesh kind of in the works. But I will warn you, I'm not an expert in anime sculpting. I'm actually learning as well as doing. I learn by do. I do by learning. So I know the basics, but I know I need to fine tune it a little bit. That's actually the other reason for me doing this piece, is that it's going to help me achieve my goals. My goal is to be better at anime stylization figures. So we got through this piece right here, which, by the way, if you're on YouTube or you go to Pixologic YouTube, you can re-watch this and kind of go through how I at least blocked it out. That will get you started. But the more I get, the more I'm going to show you guys. Be looking for drumsticks hands in the next stream. All right. See, my organization's a bit of a mess right now. Go. All right, let's take the damn standard. I'm gonna start refining just a little bit more sections before we go. And just so you guys are aware, if I do anything off stream, like refine any of the work off stream, then believe you me, I will explain everything that I did. So I rarely, when I do big projects on here, I usually don't go too far. Sometimes I just can't help myself, and I'm just like sculpting off of, you know, off the clock, or get off of work and want to hit something. Usually what I do. So if I do anything to this piece besides what you've seen, I will make sure to. So no worries there. Original or extra crispy? Extra crispy, please. And yeah, I agree with Hero. They're always crispy, but extra is always good. A little bit of extra crunch, and then, you know, get a little bit of hot sauce. Now, something else that we could do as well, real quick, is we can, to give us a little bit of, you know, shape and volume going. What we could do, I like to do this pretty early too when blocking stuff out, is we're going to go ahead and actually get some hair in here. Again, this head is temporary because we're going to finalize it in T-pose. It is a lot easier. But for hair, we're just going to grab the snake hook brush. So BSH, B as in brush, SH. No, what? No, wait, hold on. Are you serious right now? Did it change? Yes. Where are we? There it is. It's K now. Oh, it's because I added brushes. That's my fault. And we're just going to go ahead and pull out some hair. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is just to get a little bit of motion in her hair, just to showcase where things might fall. Give me a sense. This is what I like to call temporary hair. It's just going to be there to kind of give me a sense of motion and placement. It's also going to tell me the things I need to pay attention to and the things that I don't need to worry about. Sometimes it's helpful to not worry about the things that aren't going to be seen, but you get a good amount of everything else. Damon Long, this is actually a Demon Slayer fan art piece. Just started. We're blocking out a lot of the anatomy. Got a few more minutes before the stream is up, but I'm gonna come in here. Okay, I'm out. See you guys. Bye, Ashley. Have a good one. Thank you so much for stopping by. Always a pleasure to have you here. It's always so much fun. Right. Red light. So this is what we have right now. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab this hair and I'm going to separate it. I'm going to go ahead and split hidden. I'm going to call down and say that this is Netsuko hair reference. Now again, now this isn't going to be the final hair, but this is hair reference, so that way I can kind of see how it's working, get a little bit of that flow, and also test how the hair is going to be, or how I'm thinking about having the hair. I'm gonna do that trick that Shane showed me real quick. I like this. Go. Bit of volume. Look at that. I'm not worried about all the extra strands or anything. I'm just worried about how it's responding. Down, I'm actually gonna flip that to the side. Go. So you can see, like, we stay, for the most part, the more you take on, the more you'll stay in the quote valley of the suck. It's just not looking 100% the way you want it to out the gate, but don't let that discourage you, okay? Because there's still so much more to do, and we've just started. So we got the main shapes going, which is great. This is so much information to have here, so the next time we come back with fresh eyes, we'll be able to have a lot more of that information come through. Just remember, projects take as long as they take. When you're learning, don't rush the process. Never a good thing to do. Just sit back and work on it slowly. Watch it come together. Yeah, me too, actually. Okay, bye, Shane. So long, thanks for the butts. Of course, dude, of course. Feel that 100%. That at least looks real. It really is, yep. But you can see here, one of the things that I wanted to achieve was everything in motion, right? So keeping that motion going. Now her head is actually not quite where I want it to be. Actually, no, her head is where, yeah, it needs to be down a little bit. Let's actually grab her head. Grab that piece, grab that. Let's actually bring it down a little bit more. There you go. There we go. Okay. But yeah, it takes time, guys. It takes time. And I really like showcasing just how much time it could take to get something. Because I feel like there's sometimes an unrealistic expectation of what we see on social media and what we see when, you know, we're starting out and we're like, oh man, how long did it take that person? And you just see that something looks good, right? But you're not always aware of how long that took. And, you know, I've seen professional pieces take 4 weeks. I've seen professional pieces take 8 weeks. Just all depends on what the overall goal of the project is. And so you want to make sure that you're not stressing too much about getting it done fast. When you rush something, that's when it's not going to look good. Speed comes over time. So make sure that you just take your time. You attempt you just bring your A game, you try your best. And, you know, if something's not working, don't be afraid to abandon it. It's okay if it's not working. In fact, if it's not working, I highly encourage you to, like, stand up and take a break. And then come back and then take a look at it. Be kind to ourselves. That's the goal of the game. The more you study, the more you practice, the easier it gets. Watching time-lapse on YouTube are a good way to give yourself an unrealistic expectations. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That was something I fell into really early on, guys. Like, I fell into this rabbit hole of expecting to be amazing in a couple hours. And I literally, not even kidding, my first year of sculpting, second year of sculpting, I had the ability to be at work and do it on lunch, and I was like, I'm gonna make the most amazing piece in 30 minutes. Don't do that. So definitely know that it takes time, guys. It definitely takes time. So it's okay to take a breath. It's okay to realize that, yeah, it's these pieces don't come quickly, right? So it takes time. Practice gives us speed, not the other way around. That makes any sense. Almost at the point where I'm going to want to ZBrush it. Yeah. See, you mean like when someone posts an 80 million poly model fully textured and rendered in Arnold, and they're like, "Wow, it took like 5 hours." Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. You know, like, don't stress, but don't stress about it. Like, you know, it's not good. Do the best you can do, and however long that takes. The only person you should compare yourself to is you yesterday. Okay, not you today, not you tomorrow, but whatever you did yesterday, just try to be a little bit better tomorrow or today. Yeah, today. Wow, I just totally screwed that up. So yeah, just focus on being better, just like 1% better. 0.5% better is great. Like, just be a little bit better every day than you were yesterday, and you'll get there. Always learning, never being afraid to admit that you don't know something, and don't be afraid to say, you know what, I want to learn that. I want to try that. Like, that's what I'm doing right now. I want to get better at anime sculpting, and I'm going to do it. So I'm going to put myself out there, get it done. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it together. So, how do you know when you're done with a project? You can tweak and nudge a project forever? Absolutely, Dosh. Oh my god, great question. Okay, so I will tell you right now. This is what I did with this piece. All right, I'm gonna leave you guys with this little nugget. When I caught myself moving mesh around, but I wasn't actually improving the sculpt, stop. That's when you walk away. Okay. When you are sculpting something and you have hit a wall where you're not making the sculpt any better, you're sitting there for 10, 15, 20, 30 an hour, you're there and you keep doing stuff to your model, but nothing is changing, it's not getting better, it's just there, and you're wondering if you're finished, that's when you stop, walk away, come back the next day. Give yourself some time, and then look at it with fresh eyes and be like, do I like that? If you end up liking it, leave it alone. Because we get into this thing called noodling, where you're just moving mesh around, but you're not actually changing anything. You've stopped sculpting, and now you're just doing stuff. That's when you know you should stop and take a minute. Smash. That's one way to look at it. I'm telling you, A Smash, that me yesterday was worse than me today. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. All right, guys. Well, that being said, I want you all to know that you guys are doing great. Every one of you that's here, that's asking questions, that's here watching and learning, just being here, you guys are already making yourself better than you were yesterday. So great job. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I know we got just a basic block out and a head shape that we're going to be refining, but you got to start somewhere, and it's okay. So don't worry about it. I really appreciate everything that you guys have done. Also, too, you know what's coming up soon? You guys know what's coming up soon? Pixologic Summit. We're going to be doing there's going to be a sculpt off that's going on, a 3-hour sculpt off. And as we get closer to that, I'm going to be giving away a little bit of tips and tricks on how to approach something like a 3-hour sculpt off, essentially a speed sculpt. You look at it very much like a sketch and not like an overwhelming long project. So if you're interested with it, make sure to go to summit.pixologic.com and register. All that stuff is going to be helpful. If you just want to sit there and watch, come hang out with me. I'm going to be doing the sculpt off. It's on October 23rd through the 26th. The 23rd is the sculpt off, and it is open to anybody who wants to register and try. I encourage all of you to try. The worst thing that happens is that you jump in there and you give it your best, and that's it. That's literally it. Everything else, don't worry about. So if you want to participate, jump in there with me. It'll be great to have you there. Love it. Just come over and register, do all that good stuff. And every Sunday I stream 5 p.m. Pacific Standard or Pacific Daylight Time. Currently in daylight, I think. California has to be different. Los Angeles time. So join me. It's always a 3-hour sculpt, and this is the project we're going to be working on, guys. So this is going to be a big project. It's going to take multiple streams, but bring your questions. You guys know me. I go on tangents, and I love to do that. So bring your questions, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Don't forget to follow me, hang out, all the good stuff, and yeah. You paint kneecap? Did you use UVs? Heck no, no UVs. Oh. All right, I'm gonna leave you with where's there we go. I'll leave you this piece. This is coming soon for 3D print, guys. Anyway, that is it, and I'll chat at you all later. Bye 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 bye.